In today's session, we will see about the JavaScript promises. Okay. So the major purpose of promise in JavaScript is to perform asynchronous operations. To perform asynchronous operations, we'll use JavaScript promises. So coming to the LWC point of view, so the major purpose of asynchronous sorry, the major purpose of promise is to perform to fetch the data, we can say, from Apex methods or load the data from static resources. Okay, this is the major use case of JavaScript promise. Okay, so the major purpose of JavaScript promise is to perform asynchronous operations. Okay, so we'll see the examples to make you understand this thing much clearly. Okay, to fetch the data from Apex methods, we'll use this one, and to load the static resources in LWC, we'll use this promise. So coming to the promise, it will be having three states. So coming to the interview standpoint also, it's an important topic only. So coming to the promise, it is having three states. So the first state is pending state. So whenever this method initialized, or like whenever before executing this will be in a pending state. Okay, so after pending state, we'll be having fulfilled stage. Okay, so coming to the fulfilled state means if operation successfully completed, it will return this one as an output. Operation successfully completed. If operation successfully completed, it will return, like if it is in fulfilled status, if operation successfully completed, it will goes to fulfilled status. If operation won't complete successfully, it will goes to reject status. It means reject status means operation failed. Okay, so as of now, simply remember, like coming to the promise, it is having three states. One is pending state, second one is fulfilled state, and the final one is reject state. So if some condition satisfied or if your execution successfully completed, means it will go to fulfilled stage. If there is any errors present, it will goes to reject state. Okay. So before initializing this promise or before executing this promise, it will stay in pending state. Okay. So keep it aside. If you see the examples, you'll understand it much clearly. Now what I'll do is initially I'll initialize one promise with a constant, defining variable with the name promise. Okay. Now what I'll do is here I'll say I'll initialize new promise object. Okay. So you can see I'm initializing new promise. So coming to the promise, I told you it is having two states. First state is fulfilled state, means resolve state. So it is having parameters, like initially I'm giving resolve parameter. Then next I'm giving another parameter, that is reject parameter. And here I'm going to take help of arrow function. Okay. So by taking help of this arrow function, I'll take a method to write the logic or implement a logic inside this. Now to simulate this operation, okay. So to check how this asynchronous operation is working, I'm defining one variable. Let's suppose I'm defining variable with the name success. So as of now, we are not having any data. That's why I'm defining success equals to true. Just I'm giving Boolean expression. Once it is succeeded, now what I'll do is I'm checking whether it is succeeded or not. If success. So if success, what I'm going to do is I want to execute, like I am giving resolve state here. So if it is succeeded means it will goes to fulfill stage. Fulfill stage is nothing but resolve. So here I'll write operation succeeded. Similarly, else. So if we are not inside if means obviously will be inside the else statement. Now coming to else, what I am saying is directly. So if you are in else state means it is not successfully completed. It means it should goes to reject state. Okay. So now here we can say operation failed. Okay. So this is about simple JavaScript promise without any complexity. You can see it is having three states. By default, it will be in a pending state. After pending state, it will be having two major states. One is resolve, another one is reject. We can say resolve as fulfill stage. If it is executed successfully, if there are no errors, then it will take us into resolve state. And whatever the logic you write here, that will perform that operation or that logic. The next, if there is any errors present, if it is not successfully executed, it will execute the reject method. In the reject method, like it means it will give you an error, we can say. Okay, now I'll execute this one. I'll console it simply. Console.log. You can see I want to see the output of promise. Okay, I'm saving this one. Now, if you go to live server, you can see. So here you can see the status as well. Promise, it is in fulfilled state, and the output is operation succeeded. Okay. So promise fulfilled operations. See, promise state you can see fulfilled and operation succeeded. Let's suppose now what I'll do is in this, instead of this true, I'll keep false. Okay. I'm keeping false and I'm saving it. I'll go to live server now. You can see it is giving an error. So reject means as it is an error only, right? That's why it is giving that error. You can see in the console, promise, it is in reject state, uncut in promise, operation failed. Okay, you can see promise, it is in rejected state, operation failed. Okay, so once again, I'm recapping. So coming to the JavaScript promise, it is an asynchronous operation. The purpose of this thing is to fetch the data from Apex methods or to load the static resources, we'll use it. Coming to the basic example, so pending is the by default state of this asynchronous operation or promise asynchronous method. So majorly it is having two states. One is resolve, another one is reject. So if this operation succeeded, it will give you output like it will goes to resolve state. It means it is a fulfilled stage, and whatever the logic you want to execute, you can execute that operation. Okay. Once again, I'm giving true here. Okay. So most of the times for this promise, we'll use then and catch blocks. For this, we'll append then and catch blocks. We'll see how we can use then and catch blocks for this asynchronous operation. So now, whenever you want to use then and catch block, let's suppose what I'll do is I'll execute same type of promise. Okay. So now what I'll do is, yeah, I'll define another variable with the name promise once again. Promise. So I'll keep this portion in comments. Till here, control backspace we can keep something in comments. So now constant promise equals to I'm giving new promise. Okay. So as you know how to define parameters in this, we have to specify resolve first, the next reject next. After these two, like we have to define a arrow function. I'm defining an arrow function. Inside this arrow function, actually, like here in the block, whatever the logic you want to implement, you can implement that logic. So now whatever the variable we defined previously, I'll take same variable. Okay. So now you can see these are disabled means they are not yet used. Okay. So I'm defining this variable with the let keyword. The next, what I'll do is I'll take help of set timeout function. In a previous session, we saw how to use set timeout function. I'm taking help of set timeout function. So inside this, again, I'm taking another nested function. Okay. So now for this function, again, I'll take help of arrow function. And with this arrow, what I'll do is I'll check if condition now in this. If success. Okay. If success, what I have to do is, if success same, like I have to pass a variable like resolve data fetched successfully, let's suppose. Writing this in an output as of now. The next, what I'll do is else. In the else, I'll write like operation failed or result like some error occurred. The result, I'll write fetching data. So I'm writing this one. Now, what I'll do is coming to the set timeout function, as you know, we have to specify time delay. Okay. So like how many seconds it should wait, that we have to specify. So I'll specify only 1 second. 1 second means 1000. It will measure like the parameter will takes in a milliseconds. That's why I'm giving this one. So far, I think this is the same thing whatever we did previously. Just we took a simple promise. In the promise, it will be having two states, resolve and reset, and we define the variable like status value check. Okay. Then next inside this we are taking help of another arrow function which is used to keep a timeout. In the specified time duration, if it fetches the data, it will give true, otherwise it should reject. So for that purpose I kept a timeout. So in this timeout I'm checking these two logics. If condition is true, it will return this one like it will goes to fulfilled status. If it is false, it will goes to reject status. Okay. And it will wait for 1 second. Now, how to use then and catch blocks. So to use then and catch blocks, what I am going to do is I'll say promise. Okay. Sorry, control Z. I'll say promise. Here I'll take help of dot notation. I'll say promise dot then. Okay, I'm taking help of then. Means if promise dot then means if promise gets succeeded, then means if promise gets succeeded. So then what we have to do if it is succeeded, we have to return a result, right? So at that time, result equals to, we have to console result, console.log result. Log result. So by default, it will return a result. So if we are in then means this operation succeeded. If we are in then means this operation gets succeeded. If it is succeeded, I have to console the result. Like pate, otherwise we have to go to catch block. Otherwise, we have to go to catch block. In this catch block, what we have to do? We have to return an error. Which error we have to return? Whatever the error occurred, we have to return that error. So instead of console log, we'll give console.error. Sorry, console.error. In this error, like we have to specify error so that it will return an error. This is about then and catch blocks. So coming to the promise, then, so whenever this promise returns or this promise returns success, it will goes to then block and it will give the result. If this promise failed, then it will goes to catch block and it will return the error whatever occurred there. Now I'm saving these and I'm going to this method. You can see data fetched successfully. So previously, if you see the previous example, it gave a complete example. So complete example in the sense it is giving like in which state we are present and everything it gave. So if you observe the above example means this example, it has given a promise. Means here what happened, we are in which state and what would be the output. It has given all the parameters. Now, by taking help of this then and catch blocks, we are fetching exact result. So whatever the statement we specified, while it is succeeded, we are fetching that result only. Whenever failed, it will return this one only in an output. This is about then and catch. Okay. Similarly, coming to this then and catch, we can add finally as well. Okay. So we can add finally as well. So irrespective of success or failure, if you want to know the status or if you want to execute something at the time, you can take help of finally keyword. So to make you understand, I'm splitting these so that it will be much convenient to you. Okay. Now here also I'll do this one. Okay. So after this, if this also fails, what I'll do is I will take help of finally block. You can see this is coming in a suggestion directly. So finally, irrespective of this everything, I had to return something in an output. So for this also, I'm taking help of arrow function. I'll console log. Console.log. Here I have to return something in an output. Execution completed, let's suppose. So this is what I'm giving here. Now I'm saving this. I'll go to live server and I'll check. You can see data fetched successfully and execution completed. These two are coming in an output. So similarly, now if you observe this, now what I'll do is I'll change this success to false. Okay. I'll change this success to false. Now I'm saving this. Okay. I'll go to live server. You can see error fetching data and it is marking with red color means we are having some error in this specific line and execution completed. Though error is there, this promise is executed successfully. Okay. In this way, we'll use this JavaScript promise. So very, 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 very important coming to the interview perspective. Okay. So remember, once again, I am recapping. So coming to the promise, which is used to perform asynchronous operations in JavaScript, and it is having three states. First one is a fulfill stage. So whenever like it is not executed by default, it will stays in pending status. The next fulfill status and reject status. So coming to the fulfill status, whenever it is executed successfully, then it will return a state as fulfilled and it will perform specific operation which are present inside the resolve. And the next, if there are any errors, it will goes to reject state and it will give you an error message. Okay. And in the JavaScript promise, we'll be having three methods, then catch and finally. So coming to the then method, if promise returns fulfilled state, it will return the result. Like if you want to return the result, you can take help of then method. Similarly, catch method, if you want to catch the error in the promise, will take help of catch. So coming to finally, irrespective of the error or success messages, to know the execution status or after executing complete code, if you want to return something in an output, will take help of finally method. So coming to the LWC point of view, we'll use it to catch a, sorry, like to fetch the data. So for that, we'll be having fetch method. Okay. So I'll show you that one as well now. Let's suppose what I'll do is I'll take example of simple example. So I don't do anything here. Simply I'll say fetch method. So coming to this fetch method. Okay. So I'll specify my LinkedIn, sorry, my GitHub URL. Let's suppose HTTPS directly I have API dot GitHub. So I'll specify my GitHub URL .com /users slash, here I have to give my username. Okay, so I'm giving these details. This is my user details from the API. Like I have to fetch this data completely. If it is successfully written something, it means it will goes to then what we have to do, we have to return output function. We have to return, I have to return result. If it is succeeded, I have to return some result. Which result you want to return? So we have to implement that logic here. Okay. So return, I have to return result. I have to get it in the form of JSON. As it returns basically in the form of object format, I want to see it in the form of JSON. Okay. So if you want to keep a console, you can keep it. It will give you output in the console as well. Okay. So yeah, we'll query it and we'll see. No worries on that. If needed, we'll keep a console on this. So after then, yeah. So now again I'll keep another then for this then here I'll take another function. Means if it is succeeded again, I'm taking one more function in this. So for this function, I'm passing parameter as response. Okay. For this function, we are passing a parameter as response, and here I'm controlling it. Just for the console sake only, I added this one. Console.log response. Okay. So don't be get confused. I haven't done anything here. It's a very simple thing. Just I used function twice. So instead of this JSON, in this another function, like instead of returning anything, just in this function, I'm passing response parameter and just I'm consoling that response. I'm saving this one. So I'm going to the JavaScript execution completed. You can see this is about, oh yeah, you can see in this execution completed error fetching data. Oh, not found, this destination URL not found. That's why it returned output like so error. So it's giving an output like error. Why it is giving error means, so as whatever the URL I specified, that is not proper URL. So I'll try to specify proper URL now on the VS Code. Specify correct URL so that it will return. Okay. So now what I did is like I changed this URL and now we'll console it after saving this. I've saved this one. You can see data fetched successfully and execution completed. These things are coming from another one, but we'll see this one. I queried this data, like I'm returning the complete JSON. You can see login with my username, my user ID, node ID, and this URL, and my complete detail. It is returning from the GitHub. Okay, like this, if you want to fetch the data, we'll take help of promise. Here also we are doing same thing. If you observe, in the promise, we are taking help of fetch method. In this fetch method, we are taking help of then. Means if this URL returns successfully, it will then means it will goes to the fulfilled state directly. As we saw previously, if this URL is not correct, it has taken us into the reject state and it has given an error. So now in this, then what we are specifying is function of result. If it is in fulfilled state, it will return a result. So we are returning the result. So result will contain a result, but I want to see this result in the form of JSON format. Means I have to return this result in the form of JSON. Then if it is also succeeded, then I'm taking another function. So for this function, I'm taking input as response. Response means whatever the result.json we are getting, that is the response. Okay, so I'm taking that one as a parameter here. Now I'm saying console.log response. I'm consoling the response. Okay, so please try to understand it. If you won't understood, don't worry. We'll see this kind of many examples in LWC session. Okay, thank you. With this, I'm concluding for this session.